Hey everybody, Civil War. I'm going to break character on this video so we can talk about this incredibly dumb movie that they just put out. Oh my god, the characters were horrible, the plot was ridiculous, and the details of the plot were completely implausible. And what's worse, this was a completely missed opportunity. If you had had an intelligent scriptwriter and an intelligent director doing this, you could have actually done some amazing things with this premise, and it would have created an amazing movie that had a chance to say a lot about many different things. So I'm going to give you my opinion of what maybe they could have done with this movie that might have made it better, and you can let me know if you agree or not. Okay, so number one, in this movie, we talk about the United States having a civil war right now, and it's not about the beginning of the war. It's sort of later on. It's towards the end of this war. But we don't really get a clear picture of why this war started. At least I didn't. I assume it's over political lines, like a line in the stand of political ideology. But that's not quite clearly explained. The U.S. seems to have divided itself into geographic regions that are fighting each other. So I don't know if that's all the politically similar people all migrated to those regions or what. But just ridiculous. You could have done so much with this. You could have almost made a pitch for every single one of these factions or every single one of these political ideologies and really made a strong case for each one in a way that most people could relate to. So wherever you fall on the political spectrum, if you're on the left, the right, or in the center somewhere, you could maybe relate to each one and find some interesting elements in there. If it had been handled in an intelligent, objective way. Did we get that? No, of course not, right? That requires brains. Another totally missed opportunity that, a subject that they didn't touch at all was the idea that anything in moderation is okay, but if you take it to an extreme, it almost always turns into something bad, right? So whether it's political ideology or, your opinions on a variety of different issues, if you take it to its extreme, it's probably going to be a bad thing for everyone. It's unworkable in reality. Did they show that aspect of it? No, of course not. We didn't get that either. I mean, that would have been an interesting thing to get into. Another thing that they didn't mention that I thought would have been a great sort of area to explore was the idea that, most people, at least in my opinion, my worldview, most people have good intentions. They don't wish ill upon others for no reason whatsoever. They usually have good intentions, but usually what happens is that they disagree on how you would go about fulfilling those intentions. So they have similar goals, they just disagree on the execution, on how you would go about that. And you could use that to talk about how there's commonality between most people, or you could use it to talk about how there's the opposite of commonality, how there's a tension and friction and disagreement between most people. So, that's an interesting aspect of human nature. Did they address that? That might have been closely tied with the beginning of a civil war. No, we didn't get that at all. And finally, the biggest missed opportunity, I think, in the entire movie is showing the realities of war. Usually in a lot of movies, especially modern movies, we get this sort of dumbed down morality lesson that war is bad, right? And that's as deep as it goes. War is bad, right? But if we could just maybe have someone that's a little bit more intelligent addressing this issue, we could talk about perhaps, where war leads. Usually, if you look at history, wars are started for one reason, maybe a cause or an ideal, but it quickly goes off the rails, it turns into something else, and the original cause or ideal is quickly forgotten about. It might turn into a blood feud or something like that, that you end up in a completely different situation than what you walked into with open eyes. You could talk about how war, it's extraordinary circumstances, and it brings out the best in some people, it brings out the worst in other people, because everybody who's affected has had their lives turned completely upside down. Their world is completely turned upside down. Now, what this does to a person is absolutely incredible. There's so many documented cases of this happening to people, how war has changed them, being put through these kinds of experiences. You could have the main characters in the movie, or any character, they can learn something about themselves, that something about their nature is revealed to them because of going through this experience. Or they could be changed in a fundamental way because they went through this experience. Did we get any of that? No, of course not. It seems to me that in the last 10 years or so, a lot of people that make movies and TV shows, they seem to have forgotten how to make movies and TV shows. You know, the characters are terrible. They seem to just be completely devoid of interesting ideas. And I don't know. I mean, it almost seems like their target audience are universally people that have an IQ of about 70, who don't know anything about history, don't know anything about people, don't know anything about the world, you know, and I don't even think they're succeeding in getting those people to like their stuff. That's just my opinion. Thank you for listening. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree, what your opinion is. You guys are awesome. I'm trying something new with this channel. I'm going to sort of have more of my random thoughts on things like this, if you guys tell me you want to hear it. And we'll see where it goes. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you on the next one.